Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Small Talk. I am going to record this very simple, small video. I recently came across a social media post. I don't know what social media platform it was, and actually no, it was Facebook. I remember. I think I've mentioned this before. There's a group that I follow. It's ladies only, and the idea is that all women can interchange their ideas. If they have any very personal questions, because it's women to women, they can ask that without being judged, and it's general to support other women and to help them with their problems, everyday problems. So there was one lady, she asked a question. She said, when somebody calls me on the phone and I say hello, is that allowed or not? First of all, that is a very, I shouldn't say dumb question, but that question is like so irrelevant. This question doesn't even have any roots. I mean, Islam encourages questions, but the questions have to be somewhat reasonable. You know, you pick up the phone, you say hello, end of the discussion. I don't think Allah is going to hold you accountable on the day of judgment. So, but anyways, when I saw this, I made the comment, and the commenter said, no, it's not haram. And there was some auntie somewhere in Pakistan, and she said, well, when you answer the phone, it's our sunnah for our prophet, you should say assalamu alaikum. I said, you should, but you don't have to. She asked a simple question, is this haram or no? And I said, no, it's not haram. No, you don't understand. You can always say assalamu alaikum. People would appreciate, you know, because Muslims have this problem, especially people who think they're very religious. They have this problem because that they don't want to take anybody else's answer and accept it, because they think they know better than you and they have to get their point across. And if you don't agree with them, they get super mad, and then they keep bringing new and new evidence and try to convince you. And then she was like, well, my daughter, she lives in the US. She went to meet somebody in the Senate, and she in the White House, and she tried to shake hand, or he tried to shake hand, and she said, no, we don't shake hand, but assalamu alaikum. And he really appreciated it. And I was like, I appreciate that. That's called, I'm going above and beyond. It's taqwa. But she asked for a fatwa, and she said, is it haram? And it's a yes or no question. And it's not haram. You just have to say yes or no. The rest of the detail is just extra. That's not needed, you know. And that lady just kept going on and on. And of course, I had to end the conversation there, and I told her, you know what, you do you, woman. I'm going to end this conversation now, because you obviously don't understand the question, or maybe you don't want to understand the question. So I just wanted to make this small video. First of all, you say hello, trust me, Allah does not interfere that much. Believe me, this is not the only thing he has to worry about there. Oh, she said hello, so I'm going to write a sin against her. This is not even a real question. And second, the answer is no, it's not haram. Not everything is haram in Islam, guys. Trust me. And to those who try to get their point across and try to go to the next level, I already made a video on this. There's a fatwa and there's a taqwa. Fatwa is the bare minimum. You do this, you will get a reward. You don't do this, you'll get questioned for it and maybe sin for it. For example, pray 5 times a day. Do your fard prayers. If you don't do them, Allah will question you, hold you accountable. Sunnah prayers, do them. Wonderful. It's good for you. You get extra reward. If you don't do them, Allah will not hold you accountable on the day of judgment. See the difference there? Similarly, when somebody asks you a very basic question, is it haram or halal? Say, no, it's not haram. Simple. It's a no, yes or no question. Oh, you should say assalamu alaikum, aapko 30 nekiyan milengi. Yeah, wonderful, but that's just extra. That's for those who want to be muttaqi. लेकिन कुरान में तो अल्लाह कहता है कि खुद को मुत्तकी मत कहो, मैं जानता हूँ तुम कितने परहेजगार हो, बड़े गुनाहों से बचो, छोटे छोटे गुनाह तो तुम करोगे। ये मैं कुरान पाक की एक वो जो है आयत का तर्जुमा बता रही हूँ आपको, अल्लाह भूल चूक माफ करे। तो I don't know where do people get all this information from, that we have to be muttaqi and we have to show taqwa, and you can never accomplish taqwa. You guys don't understand. It's not something that easy that comes to you. So try to be a good human being and good Muslim, and do the basics and bare minimums, and be a good human being, and trust me, Allah will forgive you. He's merciful, He's kind. You know, Allah says कि आप मेरे से जो गुमान रखोगे मैं आपको वही लौटाऊंगा. तो always Allah से अच्छा गुमान रखें. Always think good of Allah. whenever I talk to Allah, I look at him as my best friend. I do a tasbih, thank God, to my teacher. When I met him, I already mentioned this in my other videos that I came across one of the teacher. I've actually went to Pakistan. I met him in person too once. Wonderful person, wonderful human being. So he often says that he gave me a few names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to recite. So I added Ya Wali for my tasbih because I look at him as my friend, and Wali means he's your caretaker, he's your friend, he's your protector. So I always look at him as my friend, my caretaker, my protector. मैं उससे दोस्ती का गुमान रखती हूँ, तो वो मुझे हमेशा दोस्तों की तरह ही ट्रीट करता है. मुझे कभी उसने डिसअपॉइंट नहीं किया. तो इतने बड़े बड़े आप फतवे मत लगाया करें और इतनी बड़ी बड़ी तकवे वाली बातें ना किया करें, और ये भी मत बताया करें कि अगर आप ये नहीं करोगे तो आप गलत हो. No, there is a right and wrong and there is extra. So do the right thing. If you want to do extra, wonderful. If you don't do extra, Allah is merciful. Do the bare minimum that he demanded from you, and hope that he will forgive the rest. I hope this video helps. Actually, I remember one more story. When I first came to Pittsburgh, I met an auntie. People don't like to be called aunties here, and they don't like to be called uncle. No matter how old they are, you have to call them by their name. That was the first big shock that I faced when I first started going to the masajid and the community centers. So anyway, there was this lady that I met, and we were talking about, somehow the discussion started. It was my first interaction with her and didn't go very well. She probably hates me. So she spoke to me and we were talking, and she was hijabi, obviously, and she said something like, women should not be working, they should not even go out and hang out with the non-mahram men. And I was like, so when we work with non-mahram men all the time, so you can't help it. She goes, well, then women should not work. I said, but Allah does not say women should not work. She said, no, women are not allowed to work. I said, you know what, I'm sorry, but you must be hijabi. I know you're hijabi, and I'm sure you know deen more than I do, but I don't agree with you on this, because our God does not tell us that women cannot be independent and they cannot work. If that was the case, Khadija, the wife of the Prophet, was one of the elite businessmen of Mecca, then she would not have been able to do that. I was like, the Muslim women used to fight in the battlefield at the time of the Prophet. They used to, take care of the wounded, help them with to drink water and stuff, and all those things. You have to be around those non-mahram men. So if you are the only breadwinner of the family and you're a woman, yeah, it's not your major duty, it's not your job. But if you don't have a choice, you are allowed to go out and work. Even if you have a choice and you still want to work, Allah does not, tell you, oh, no, women can't work. So these kind of fatwas that people issue, they are very wrong. And then she said, well, my son is a doctor and he studied deen and he agreed. I was like, well, yeah, he's a doctor. He's not the scholar of Islam. So don't mix the two, Just because he's a doctor doesn't mean he's all-knowing. He may know human physiology and anatomy, and that's wonderful, and he could probably cure my sickness, but trust me, he cannot spiritually heal me, because he's not my spiritual healer. So don't confuse the two. And no offense to doctors, but I have come across that lots of doctors have very limited knowledge about lots of other things, because they have to study really hard. They're bookworms. They just focus on one thing. Their other social aspect of their life, the people they would call street smart, they don't have that kind of smartness. Most of them, there may be exceptions. So if you're taking a word of a doctor because you think he's a somehow scholar of Islam, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept that. I have studied my faith, and I have studied the seerah of the Prophet, and I have studied my Quran, and I know my Allah, and I know my Prophet, and I know that's not their fatwa. Their fatwa is women can be independent, they can be breadwinner of the family, they can go out and fight in the battlefield. Just they have to keep intact their haya and their respect. They obviously cannot go out and, expose themselves in front of strangers and, express the nudity that exists in this time and age. But that's a different topic. But for women to go out and work, and for you to say hello on a phone call is not haram. So some of the things really make me laugh, and I don't really talk to people much about these religious issues because I know people are so brainwashed, and the problem is lots of people don't want to study anything themselves, and even if they do study, they go to a certain school of thoughts or a certain sect, and then they teach them according to how they interpreted Islam, and then you tell them something other than, then they think somehow, God forbid, you are a kafir or you're a mushrik or you are not even a good Muslim. But that's again a very strong statement. Don't judge anybody else's faith because they're saying something different than yours, because you'll be surprised that how Allah looks at people and how much closer they may be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than maybe you and I are. So never judge people by, because they say things differently from yours or they do things differently from yours. So I hope this video helps. Please give your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. Give my video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate the feedback. I always say this because it helps the algorithm to reach more people. My goal is not to not issue fatwas or anything like this. I just take small little topics that really bother me or irritate me, and I make a video on them, because our kids are on social media all the time, and they can come across these kind of things, and it destroys their faith, and it makes them wonder if they're even in the right religion. And that's why there's so much atheism in Pakistan now, because people don't have answers to the questions of the youth. And these scholars, they issue a fatwa against everything that youngsters want to do, and then the youngsters, they just walk away from Islam, and they say, well, you know what, I'm going to go to hellfire, I might as well, let's just go and enjoy my life. So that's why I record these videos, to help maybe somebody, even if one person watches it and it helps them, maybe they can do their own research. Don't take my words for it. Please open the book and study yourself, read it yourself, and do your own research, and then come to a conclusion. But don't just take one person's words for it, because you'll be surprised how much wrong information you will get from these so-called scholars, because they want to do what is best for them, whatever makes their dukaan run, and wo apni dukaan kaise chalate hain, unki dukaan chalti hai, that's the fatwas they issue. I hope this video helped. Until next video, Assalamu alaikum.